Good morning, everyone. Welcome to today's yoga class. As always with these classes, if you do have injuries or anything going on, please modify, make changes that you need. Know that child's pose is always an option, and this can be your practice as well as being guided by me. Also, these are donation-based classes. This is my full-time job at the moment, so if you are able to, please follow the link to the side of your screen. Otherwise, we're going to get started seated today. So we're going to come to a cross-legged position. If you need to, you might have a yoga block, you might not. You might want to grab a cushion yoga block, pretty much anything that can lift the hips up so that the knees aren't lifting too high, and you want your lower body to be as comfortable as possible. Once you've got yourself sorted and you feel nice and relaxed in the lower body, you might want to close down the eyes or take a gentle gaze towards the floor in front of you. Taking any final movements here and then seeing if you can come to complete stillness. Allow your hands to rest on your knees, thighs, lap, wherever they feel comfortable. And let's draw our attention to our seat bones. So think about your seat bones pressing down into your yoga mat or whatever you might be sitting on. And then draw your awareness up your spine, this line of energy running through your body, all the way up to the crown of your head. So as your seat bones press down, the crown of the head lifts up. So trying your hardest not to slouch through the shoulders, the lower back. You're sitting up nice and tall here with the shoulders relaxed. And once you've found this active position, start to deepen your breath. If you can, in and out through the nose. Gently starting to introduce your Ujjayi breath. That audible breath in and out through your nose. And if you're practicing on your own today, you want your breath to be loud enough that you can hear it. But if you're practicing with anyone alongside you, you want it to be loud enough so that they can hear it too. Noticing straight away how this breath feels this morning. As you start deepening, are you able to find even more space and lengthen your breath a little bit more? Keeping the breath as steady as it is now. You can keep your eyes closed or open them up. We're just going to move into our neck a little bit. So start by letting your head hang heavy. So bring your chin down towards your chest. Allow all the muscles in your face to relax. From here, we're going to take some big rotations towards the right. So slowly moving your head towards the right. And then let your head fall backwards. And then over towards the left. And back through center. We're going to take a few rounds like this. So moving at your own speed. But try and keep this movement really slow, really mindful. If you find a spot that feels really tight or tense, you might want to just pause there and breathe into whatever's going on. Let's take one more rotation in this direction. And when you complete that one, we're going to change direction, so going all the way towards the left. Maybe noticing a few little clicks or cracks. But keeping that awareness in the spine, so you're still sitting up nice and tall and the shoulders are relaxed. The movement is just coming from the neck. And taking one more or finishing the rotation that you're on. And when you have completed that one, make your way slowly back to center. You can keep the eyes closed. We're going to take one more movement with the neck, but feel free to open them up if that feels better for now. So sitting up nice and tall, we're going to bring our gaze all the way over our right shoulder. Try and keep the shoulders exactly where they are as you do this, and the movement is just coming from your neck. Nice and slowly come back to center. Let's go all the way towards the left. And then coming back to center. If your eyes are still closed, opening them back up, coming into the room. We're going to take a little bit of time on our wrists now, so maybe take a few rotations with the wrists. And then we're going to reach our hands out in front of us as if you were pressing them up against the wall. Make sure you don't start to press the whole of your shoulder forwards. Keep your shoulders where they are, so shoulder blades slightly moving towards each other, just the hands pressing forwards. At the same time, you feel the fingers flex back towards you. You might already start feeling something in the forearm here. From here, we're going to rotate our right hand down so the fingertips face down towards the floor. Keep that sensation of pushing into a wall, so the fingertips pulling back towards you. And then we're going to go on the left. So both hands, fingertips are facing down, but you're reaching them back towards you. Just breathing here. Notice if you start relaxing and keep drawing the fingertips back, spread them as wide as you can. And let's bring that right hand back, so fingertips reach up. Left hand back too, and then let your hands rest on your knee just for a moment. You'll be surprised at how much that starts lighting up the muscles that we're going to be using today. From here, we're going to make our way onto all fours, so moving anything that you might be sitting on. Bring your hands below your shoulders and your knees hip width apart. Let's just take a few rounds of cat and cow. So, as you inhale, you drop your stomach, arch your back, lift your gaze. Exhale as you tuck the tailbone, press the earth away, bring the chin towards the chest. Inhale as you arch, open up. And exhale as you round. Keep moving like this to the speed of your own breath. Adding in any other twist or turn or movement here that feels good, maybe moving into the shoulders, the hips, the wrists a little bit more. But whatever you are doing, see if you can match the movement with your breath. Bring yourself to stillness with a flat back. And reach your right arm out in front of you. And then kick your left leg back. Flex the left toes back towards you so that left leg is really strong. Pull your tummy button in and up towards your spine. And make sure you're really pressing down with this left hand. Moving slowly, we're going to bring our knee towards our elbow. Kick back out. Let's go again, knee towards elbow. Kick back out. Last one like this, knee towards elbow. Kick back out. Pausing here. Gently release both hand, both knee back down, and let's go on the other side. So left arm reaches forwards, right leg kicks back. Really find the engagement in that right leg. So it's not just passively lifting, it's reaching back, the right heel reaching towards whatever it is behind you, maybe a wall, maybe not. Slowly bring your knee towards your elbow. Kick back. Let's go again, knee towards elbow. Kick it back. Last one, knee towards elbow, really tucking in, and then reach back out. Coming back to center, both hand, both knee drop down. Keeping the hips stacked on top of the knees, you're going to walk your hands forwards, coming into a puppy dog pose, so getting into the shoulders a little bit here. Either let the forehead rest on the floor, or maybe your chin. Think about reaching your chest down towards the mat, but try not to stick your bum out here, so you a slight tuck of the tailbone, pull the tummy muscles in. And let's lift back up to our tabletop. Take a big breath in through the nose. Exhale, downward facing dog. So probably is your first down dog of the day. For some of you, it might be your first down dog of the week, maybe of the month. So take any movement here. Maybe bend one knee at a time. Maybe rocking the hips from side to side, or maybe you just want to be in stillness and really feel the pose. Bring your feet to touch behind you and lift your right leg up. Bend your knee, open up the hips. See how close you can bring that right heel to your seat bones as you press both hands down and forwards. Place your right foot back down next to the left and walk your hands back towards your feet. Take a ragdoll at the back of your mat, opposite hand to opposite elbow. Let your head hang heavy. Release your hands back to the floor, walk them back to the top of the mat, downward facing dog. Lifting that left leg up this time. Bend that left knee and open the hips. Really trying to reach your left knee up towards the ceiling, opening the hips as much as you can. Again, the shoulders are square to the front as you press both hands down and forwards. Downward facing dog. Walk your feet to your hands this time. And with soft knees on an inhale, roll yourself up to standing. Reach your arms up overhead, take a full body stretch, maybe a small back bend if you're ready. Exhale to fold forwards. Lift halfway. Exhale, step it back, high plank. Bring your feet together to touch in your high plank. Spin open to a side plank. Right hand down, left arm lifts. Just staying here for 3, for 2, for 1. Nice and gently place that left hand down, spin over, side plank on the left. Reach the right fingertips up. Pull the core muscles in and up for 3, for 2, for 1, place both hands on the mat, drop your knees down, untuck the toes. Bend your elbows, come all the way down to the mat. Open your chest, baby cobra, squeeze the shoulder blades down and together. Push back through your knees, downward facing dog. Again, feel free to take any movement in your down dog or any changes you need to adjust the pose. Let's take a full breath in through the nose. And as you exhale, walk, step, or maybe float to your hands. Lift halfway. Fold. Inhale to rise, reach tall. Exhale, fold forwards. Flat back on the inhale. Exhale, high to low plank, or dropping the knees if you prefer. Upward facing dog, open the chest. Downward facing dog. Let's take a couple of big sighs here together, in through the nose. Open the mouth. Let's do that once more, in through the nose. Soften your knees, gaze forwards. Walk, step, or maybe float to your hands. Halfway lift. Fold. Inhale to rise tall. Maybe that back bend is there for you if you want it. Exhale, we bow forwards. Halfway lift. High to low plank. Maybe you're ready to float back. Inhale, up dog or cobra. Press the other way. Downward facing dog. One more big breath in. And as you exhale, soften knees, gaze forwards. As quietly, as lightly as you can, jump to your hands. Halfway lift. Fold. Inhale, rise tall. Exhale, hands together at heart center. Bring your big toes together to touch. Bend your knees, chair pose, Utkatasana. Sitting low in your chair. And let's see if you can come up onto your tippy toes. You might be a little bit wobbly or shaky in the ankles and the legs. Stay with it. Ujjayi breath, sink the hips lower. Start to reach your chest forwards and down as you reach your fingertips backwards. So the tummy is just hovering above the thighs. See if you can lift your heels taller, higher. Stay with it for 3, for 2, for 1. Keep those heels lifted, but come back to your chair pose. Drop the heels down, fold. Lift halfway. Low plank, step or maybe float back. Up dog or cobra. Downward facing dog. Step your right foot forwards, warrior 1. Inhale, you rise tall. Exhale, low plank. Up dog or cobra. Downward facing dog. Step your left foot forwards, warrior 1. Again, inhale brings you all the way up. Exhale brings you all the way down. Upward facing. Downward facing dog. Notice what's happening to your breath here. If it's starting to speed up too much, what do you need to do to slow it back down? Maybe that's a child's pose. Maybe it's slowing down your vinyasas. Full breath in. As you exhale, feet to hands, your transition. Lift halfway. Fold. Feet to touch, bend your knees, chair pose, 1 breath. Exhale to fold. Lift halfway. Low plank, step or float back. Upward facing dog, open the chest. Downward facing dog. Step your right foot forwards, warrior 1. Inhale, we rise. Exhale, step it back to your high plank. But see if you can keep that right foot off the floor. Lower down halfway, keep the right foot lifted. Place the tops of both feet down, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Step your left foot forwards, warrior 1. Inhale, rise. Exhale, we'll go for that same movement again. Step back, keep your left foot off the floor, bend your elbows halfway. Up dog, down dog. So just starting to build towards a 3-legged vinyasa. When we come back into a high plank, we keep the side of the warrior 1 we've just been on, we keep that foot lifted as we lower down halfway. You can continue with this variation. If it's too much in the arms, you can skip it out. Full breath in. Exhale, feet to hands. Halfway lift. Fold. Chair pose. Fold forwards. Halfway lift. Low plank, step or float back. Upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. Right foot forwards, warrior 1, rise tall. Exhale, step it back to that 3-legged plank. Bend your elbows, keep the right foot lifted. Then place it down, upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. Step your left foot forwards, warrior 1. Press both feet down, rise up nice and tall. Exhale, high plank, keeping that left leg lifted if you want. Bend the elbows halfway. Place the left foot back down, upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. Maybe starting to feel a bit of heat building in the body this morning. Notice how that feels in your body. Soften knees. Gaze forwards, lightly jump to your hands. halfway lift, fold, chair pose, fold, lift halfway, low plank, upward facing dog, downward facing dog, right foot forwards, warrior one, high to low plank, maybe keeping that right leg lifted if you want to, up dog, press the earth away, downward facing dog, step your left foot forwards, warrior one, low plank, again choose if you keep that left leg lifted or not, a bit of a tongue twister, up dog, down dog, find your breath here, check in with your hands and your feet, are your fingers still spread wide, are you pressing down with the fingertips and knuckle pads? Bring your feet together to touch. Lift your right leg up. Bring your knee to your nose. Kick back. Bring your knee to your right elbow. Kick it back. Bring your knee to your left elbow. Kick it back. Bring your knee to your nose and gently step it in between your hands. Rise up to your crescent lunge. Take your time, find your balance. Reach up tall. Notice if you can lengthen your stance slightly here by shuffling that back foot further back. Options, stay where you are, or maybe come up onto the tippy toes of that front foot. Keep breathing. Enjoy the wobbles or the shakes or whatever you've got going on. Stay with it. If you have that front heel lifted, gently place it back down. Bring your hands together at heart center. Inhale to lengthen. Exhale, we twist towards our right. Hooking that left elbow over the right thigh. Really twisting along the whole of the spine. Choose what variation you take with your hands, but keep that left leg nice and strong here. Moving slowly, come back to center. Keep that front knee bent. Breathe. Warrior two. Flip your front palm and reverse. Extended side angle, right forearm, right thigh, left fingertips up. Choose where you go with this pose. Maybe you're ready for a bind, half or full. But wherever you're going with it, don't take a bind and start rounding the shoulders down. Keep opening the chest up. Wherever you are, you're pressing that back foot down into the ground. Ujjayi breath, breathing as deeply as you can. If you're bound, gently let go of the hands. Everyone release both hands to the floor. Step back. Take a vinyasa. Skip it out to meet straight and down dog. Even take child's pose if you need it. So there are always options in your yoga practice. You never want to force anything that doesn't feel right. Let's go on the left side. So lift your left leg up. Bring your knee to your nose. Really shift all your weight forwards as you do this. Kick it back. Bring your knee to your left elbow. Kick it back. Bring your knee to your right elbow. Kick it back. Knee to nose. Crescent lunge, step that foot in between the hands. Don't worry if your foot ends up halfway along the mat. You can take your time, take as many steps as you need to lift up. Again, if you want to deepen it, shuffle that back foot further back. If you feel wobbly, you might want to walk your left foot further towards the left. Options, just stay with your crescent lunge, or maybe you start to lift that left heel this time. Gently lower that left heel back down. Hands together at heart center. Inhale to lengthen. Exhale, we twist towards our left this time. Try not to dump the weight of your chest, your torso on your front thigh, rather lifting as you twist. See if you can lift that back heel a little bit higher, stretching through the sole of your foot. Come back to center, pausing here. Again, try and keep the bend in the front knee throughout as you open out into your warrior two. Flip your front palm and reverse. Extended side angle, left forearm, left thigh, right arm up. Again, choose how deep you take this pose. Maybe you want to stay here, maybe you want to go for a half bind, full bind, whatever feels right for you right now. Again, know that you don't need to force anything or push anything in your yoga practice. It's not about doing a pose, it's about practicing. If you are bound, gently release the hands. Everyone, hands to mat, step back, high to low plank, or meet straight in your downward facing dog. Soften knees, gaze forwards, lightly jump to your hands. Open your feet out as wide as your yoga mat, toes pointing out, sink your hips into a Malasana squat. We're not going to be here for too long, so don't worry about sorting yourself out too much. But hands come together at heart center, lift the crown of the head. Take 2 deep, deep breaths here as you open the knees out a little bit more. Options, stay here, or it's a crow pose, hands to the floor, spreading the fingers wide, hips lift up nice and high, bend through the elbows, find that little shelf with the upper arms, and then start to lean forwards. Keep breathing, keep reaching the crown of the head forwards, for 3, for 2, for 1, maybe go for a shoot back, maybe not, maybe take a vinyasa, maybe you're still in your squat. If you are in your down dog, hop straight back to the top of the mat, meeting everyone back in their Malasana squat. From here, place your hands flat to the floor, keeping the feet and hands exactly where they are, just lift the hips up towards the ceiling. Heel toe the feet so they're parallel to each other, around about hip width apart. And grab opposite hand to opposite elbow. Let your head hang heavy. It might feel nice here to take quite a bend in the knees, especially if the hamstrings or the lower back is a little bit tight. Maybe a sway, maybe a sigh. Release your hands to the mat. Heel toe your feet all the way together to touch. Let's go for a chair pose. Bend your knees, reach up tall. Again, see if you can sink your hips lower. Think about squeezing everything into the midline. So the core muscles are pulling in, the thighs are moving in too. Bring your hands together at heart center. Inhale, we lengthen. Exhale, we're twisting towards our right. I'm going to give you a few options here. First option is to stay exactly where you are. Second option is to swivel your toes towards the left side of your mat. If you're going for this, we're going to be going for a side crow. So if your toes are pointing the left side of your mat, start to lower your hips so you're all the way down in this sort of mini squat. Place both hands flat to the floor. Your left elbows towards your right knee, your right elbows towards your right hip. And then again, you find that shelf with the upper arm bones, and you just start to lift up. Again, we're going to stay here for 3, for 2, for 1. Maybe you go for a shoot back, make your way all the way into a low plank, through a vinyasa. And again, we're going to meet everyone in a chair pose, so either hop, step, or jump. Everyone coming back to center, chair pose. Big breath in. Exhale, folding forwards. Separate out the feet. And grab your big toes with your first two fingers. Take a halfway lift. Fold. Really let the head hang heavy. We're going to do that same thing on the other side. So know that if you don't feel like going for your side crow, you can just stay in your twisted chair throughout. If you are going for side crow, you don't have to go for a shoot back. You can just stay working on your balance. Let go of the big toes. Heel toe your feet together to touch. Last one for the day. Chair pose. Bend your knees. Rise tall. Make sure the weight is right in the back of the feet so the toes are light on the mat. Maybe even lift the toes just for a moment. Hands come together. Inhale, we lengthen. Exhale, twisting towards your left this time. So your options, either stay where you are. Maybe you walk your toes towards the right side of your mat, so you're sort of doing a twisted chair sideways. If you're here, bend your knees all the way so your seat bones are on your heels. Place both hands flat to the floor if you're going for that side crow. Right elbow towards left knee, left elbow towards left thigh. Making that shelf with the upper arm bones. Maybe you just start to work on leaning forwards. Maybe you lean all the way up and the toes lift. Keep breathing. Stay with it. For another 3. For 2. For 1, maybe shoot back, take a vinyasa, meet us back in a chair pose when you're ready. If you're in your twisted chair, everyone meeting back in chair pose. One last breath. Inhale. Exhale, fold forwards. Separate the feet. This time slide the whole of the palm under the foot. So your toes are right up on your wrist creases. Find length, so straighten the spine, reach the chest forwards, and then fold, fold, fold over the legs. Really let the head hang heavy. Maybe take a little bit of movement with the head, with the neck. And release your hands. Slowly, slowly roll your spine all the way up to standing. Your head is the last thing to lift. Nice. You're going to bring your left hand to your left hip. Lift up your right knee. So grab hold of the outside of your right knee. Flex the right toes up towards you. So there's always that line of energy, pressing the foot down, lifting the crown of the head up. From here, we're going to open our right knee out towards the right. Options to stay here. Maybe you open your left arm towards the left. Maybe even look over your left thumb. Notice what's happening to your breath as you start balancing. Notice what's happening to your expression if you're getting a little bit serious here. Moving slowly, come back to center. Keep your right knee lifted, reach both arms up. See if you can straighten that right leg. Try not to lean backwards here. Keep breathing. Can you lift that foot a little bit higher? Swing that foot back, warrior 3. Reach the fingertips back. And again, this right lifted leg is really strong. You're reaching it backwards. Hands together at heart center. Half moon. You might want to place a block or a book underneath that left hand. Reach the right fingertips up. Keep the right toes flexed back towards you to give you a bit more stability there. Maybe you bring your gaze up towards your right fingers. Maybe you hover your left hand off the floor, coming into your suspended half moon. Stay with it. Can you lift your right leg a little bit higher, straighten it out a little bit more? And release both feet down, forward fold. This time we're going to interlace our fingers at our sacrum and reach our hands towards our head, towards the top of the mat. Let the head hang heavy. Let go of the hands, rise up to standing. Right hand comes to right hip. We're lifting the left leg up this time. Again, flex the toes, stand up nice and tall. The right foot is really grounding down into the floor. Open the left knee out towards the left. If you're wobbling around today, maybe you stay here. Maybe open your right arm towards the right. Maybe even bring your gaze towards the right. Soften through the face, the jaw, the shoulders. Nice and slowly, with control, come back to center. Keep your left leg lifted, reach both arms up. Straighten that left leg. Use the core muscles here, so pull the tummy in and out. Can you lift that leg a little bit higher? And then swing it back, warrior three, aeroplane. Really send your shoulder blades down your spine here. And almost think about cobra in the upper body, so you're lifting up through the chest. Try not to let your left hip roll open. You want to have your hips as square to the floor as possible. Hands come together at heart center. Right fingertips down this time, either to a block, a book, straight to the floor, whatever works for you. Left fingertips up. Keep those left toes flexed back towards you. And imagine you're kicking into a wall with the left foot. And then you're opening the chest. Choose if you look up towards the right fingers, the left fingers even, or maybe you hover that right hand off the floor. Use your Ujjayi breath here. And release, let that left foot stand next to the right and come straight back up to standing. If you need a little forward fold, go ahead and take one. If you need child's pose, take one. Tree pose, sole of the right foot to the inside of the calf or the thigh. Start with hands together at heart center. Take your time here. Focus your gaze to one spot. Don't let your eyes move. Maybe you stay here. Maybe you open up your arms and grow your tree. Keeping the eyes focused on that same spot. See if you can transition, onto the other side without looking anywhere else. So placing the right foot back down, lifting the left foot up. Notice if it feels a little bit weird looking for that left foot. Even though you know exactly where it is, when you don't use your eyes, it can sometimes feel a little bit more challenging. If you want to, you can keep your hands together at heart center, or you can open them out. If you've managed to keep your eyes on that same spot throughout, maybe see what happens if you softly close your eyes here. Maybe picturing that standing foot as an actual tree trunk with roots going down into the ground beneath you. If you do fall or wobble, try not to take it too seriously. Just make your way back into the pose. Keep breathing here. And if the eyes are closed, open them back up. Place both feet on the floor. Take any little movement with the feet that you might need. And then we'll step to the top of the mat if you're not there already. Inhale, reach up tall. Exhale to fold forwards. Halfway lift. Step back to a high plank. Pause here. Options to lower the knees down or keep them lifted. We're going to lower down towards the mat for a count of 5, but see if you can keep the elbows close to the body. For 5. Don't let the hips sink. For 4. Keep pressing the fingertips down for 3. For 2. For 1, come to lying on your tummy, one cheek down, arms alongside your body. Just taking a moment here. Notice how your body's feeling now. I'm sure it's a little bit warmer than it was at the start of class. Turn your palms so they face the floor. Bring your big toes together to touch, forehead to the mat. Lift up to your locust pose. So lifting as much of your body up off the mat as you can. Squeeze the shoulder blades together. And think about stretching the body. So it's tempting here to bend the knees. See if you can keep everything straight here. Gaze is down but forwards. So you're finding length through the back of the neck. One more big breath in. Exhale, release. Bring the opposite cheek to the mat and gently sway the hips from side to side. Interlace your fingers at your sacrum. Again, feet to touch, forehead down. Lift up to your locust, but with interlaced fingers. See if you can reach so far back with the hands that they lift up off your seat bones. And again, we're really looking for length as well as height here. One more big breath in. And exhale, let go. Sway the hips, take a side, or whatever you need to do. We're going to take one more variation. You're going to bend your knees so the soles of the feet are reaching up towards the ceiling. Again, interlace your fingers at your sacrum if you let go of them. Think about really pressing the pelvis down, so rounding, tucking under of the tailbone, and then lift up. So you'll notice that your chest lifts up like normal, but try and lift the knees off the mat here. Strengthening our hamstrings. We spend so much time stretching them out. It's really important to spend some time strengthening them as well. Keep reaching up. Can you lift your knees a little bit higher? And let go, release. Sway your hips, or maybe just stay in stillness. Bring your hands underneath your shoulders and you're going to lift yourself up onto your knees. We're going to take camel pose. So taking this one nice and slowly. If it feels overwhelming at any point, just come back to a kneeling position. If you do have a block or a book, placing it in between your thighs might feel quite nice just to keep them engaged. I'll demo without in case you don't have one. So there's lots of different options here. We're going to start quite gently. So lifting up, you're just on your knees. And your toes, the tops of the feet are down. Really think about this sort of centered line of your body being as strong as possible. So squeezing the glutes, pulling the tummy in. From here, you're going to bring your hands to your lower back. Fingertips can face down, they can face up, whatever works in your body. And then from here, think about reaching the center of the chest up, gaze up, and then backwards a little bit. But we're not sort of leaning all the way back with our whole legs. We're just opening the chest, gently going for a back bend. If you're super open here, you might go further, but for some of you, this is going to already feel like quite an intense sensation in the lower back. You can have your gaze up, you can let your head drop all the way back, but that might be a bit intense. If you want to take it further from here, you can tuck your toes under and maybe reach your hands all the way back onto your heels. Again, gaze can be up or you can drop your head all the way back down. Just going to stay here for 2 more breaths. And then gently, gently making your way back out. Sitting back on your heels, hands on your thighs. Again, just taking 2 breaths here. Or if you want to skip, we're going to do one more, you can skip it out. This one can be quite intense, especially if you drop your head back. It can sometimes make you feel a little bit dizzy or spacey. So we take it really gently, really slowly. When you're ready, again, no rush, no pressure to do it again. You're going to lift up. Maybe you just went in a little bit. Last time you want to try more, maybe the other way around. For me, I find this pose really the most beneficial, the most practical, and the sort of best in my body if I just go into it a really small amount. But take it as far as you want to. We're really stretching the lower back, opening through the chest. Keep breathing wherever you are. And then nice and gently, nice and slowly, sitting back on your heels, hands to your knees. And just taking a couple of breaths. You might want to close down the eyes. If you need a little bit longer here, please take it. Otherwise, we're going to come to a seated position. So you might have felt that quite a lot in your lower back. That's very normal. We'll stretch it out a little bit more. the other way. So if it feels a little bit compressed, that's quite normal, especially if that's a weak point. So we're going to come to a straddle seated position. So legs nice and wide. As always with these, you can sit up on something if you need to, but we're actually going to take a sort of side body stretch. So it might work, it might not. You might try it out, see how it goes. Start by sitting up nice and tall. So shoulders are relaxed. That same thing we started the class with. Seat bones pressing down, crown of the head lifting up. If this one is really intense, just seated, stay where you are. If you want to go for this side body stretch that I just mentioned, you're going to reach towards your left toe. Either grab hold of your left toe. If you can't quite reach it, you can just hold onto your left shin. Keeping the chest nice and open, you're going to sweep that right arm up and over and go for a side body stretch. What we don't want here is this sort of rounding. Think about opening through the chest. So it doesn't matter if you just come into it a really small amount. We're just looking for a side body stretch, maybe through that armpit, the side of the rib cage. Keep breathing. Notice how your breath feels, stretching out this part of your body that you don't often get to stretch very much. If this is really intense, we are going to stay a little bit longer, maybe just sitting upright, reaching your fingertips towards the ceiling, you get enough of a stretch. And then let's release that one, come back to center. Resetting. So we're gonna, if you need a break on the legs, take it, but we are gonna go straight onto the other side if you're staying with me. Press the seat bones down, lift the crown of the head up. Right hand either comes to the shin or loop your peace fingers around your big toe. From here, you start to reach that left arm up. Maybe this is enough. Maybe you just stay reaching the left arm up. Maybe you start to reach over. Try and think about keeping the chest open, reaching it up towards the ceiling. Again, we're staying for a little bit longer, so if you need to back off and come to a more vertical position, that's great. Alternatively, if you want to reach into it more, some of you might be able to reach your right toes with your left fingers. And let's release this side, come back to center. It might feel nice here to bring your knees together, maybe either knock them in or just sway them from side to side. Great work. This time, legs straight out in front of you again, sitting right up on your seat bones. Always the option if you want to just stay seated upright, that's a great place to be. Otherwise, you're reaching up, leading with the chest, coming to a forward fold. So keep flexing the toes back towards you. And think about reaching the center of your chest towards your shins or your toes. Not forcing anything, so don't worry about it if you're not coming down as far forward as you'd like to, or as maybe you did last week or last month. Just going with whatever your body is giving you today. If the hamstrings are feeling really tight here, you can take a micro bend in the knees, and then you might actually feel it more in the lower back. If you are folding forwards, we're all going to come back up to seated. Take your time and bring your feet to the floor. Make sure you're right on both seat bones. And it wouldn't be Sunday morning yoga without a boat pose. So here we go. You thought we were winding down, but not quite yet. So make sure you're balanced nicely. Toes are either flexed or pointed. Either hands on the thighs or letting go. Try and have your shins parallel to the floor. Shoulders are relaxed. Make sure you're breathing here. And I'm just checking I've got space behind me. I'm going to give you one more addition onto this. Either stay where you are if you're really feeling it in the core, maybe you've got it in the hip flexors as well, or it's a low boat. High boat. Let's do 4 more. Low boat. High boat, make sure you're breathing. Nice and slowly, low boat. High boat. Low boat. High boat, I've lost count. I think this is the last one. Low boat, hold it here for 3, for 2, For one, high boat. Everyone's in their high boat. Last few breaths, stay with it. Keep the shoulders relaxed. Maybe even a little smile on the face here. Stay with it, even if the legs are shaking, you're feeling wobbly. And release, let it go. Feet flat to the floor, arms out in front. Nice and slowly, use your core. Roll yourself out onto the mat. Nice. Bring your hands underneath your seat bones or next to your seat bones, whatever you prefer. Lift your feet up towards the ceiling. We're going to lower our feet down by a third, keeping the legs straight, shoulders relaxed. By another third. Bring your feet 2 inches off the floor. Take a look at your toes. Give them a wiggle. Lift your legs back up. And again, lower them down by a third. By another third. 2 inches off the floor. Take a look at your toes. Give them a wiggle. Lift your feet all the way back up. I felt like we should do one more. Lower them down by a third. Soften the face. Again, maybe a little smile comes to your lips. Down by another third. Feet 2 inches off the floor. Take a look at your toes. This time, swing them like a pendulum from left to right. For 3. Keep breathing for 2. Last one, lift your feet all the way back up and hug your knees in towards your chest. Take a little rock side to side. We've stretched out the lower back quite a lot today. So really pressing the lower spine down into the mat here. Happy baby, grab the outer edges of the feet and again pull the knees in towards you. You might want to stay with the swaying, really massaging the back, or you might want to come to stillness. Release both feet flat on the floor. Thread the needle, right ankle over left thigh, grabbing either the underneath of your left thigh or the outer edge of your left shin. Try and keep both feet flexed as you pull that left knee in towards you. And our target area here is our right glute, our right hip. So if you can't feel it, fiddle around with this pose. So you might tilt slightly one way or the other to feel it more. If you have a wall close to you, you might want to place the sole of that left foot into the wall. And then just allow your mind to focus on your breath. And unraveling this side, come straight onto the other side. Left ankle over right thigh. Choose your variation where you clasp your hands. And again, pulling the right knee in towards you this time. Taking any movement, any adjustment to really feel the stretch, the release. And let's release this side. Unraveling the legs. Let go of the left leg, straighten it out on the mat. Hug the right knee in. Let your right knee fall towards the left for a spinal twist. Right arm opens towards the right. Maybe gaze is also towards the right. Come back through center and swap sides. So straighten that right leg out. You might even shift the hips slightly towards the left if you want a deeper twist. Hug your left knee in, let it fall over towards the right. Yeah, nice and slowly coming back to center. We're going to take a very gentle inversion before we move into Shavasana. We're not going to be there for very long. If you're craving a headstand, you can do your own thing by all means. Otherwise, either placing a block or a book underneath your hips, or just keeping the hips flat on the floor. We're just lifting our feet up high. So trying to have the legs as straight as possible. If this is really tough on the hamstrings, you can take a little bend in the knees. Arms come alongside you, and you want to find a space that you're as relaxed as possible. I know that sometimes for some people this is not very relaxing, but just breathe into it. We won't be here for too long. We just want to get our feet up high, give those legs a little bit of love after working them pretty hard today. Feel free to stay here longer if you want to. Otherwise, staying with me, making your way all the way back down onto the mat and straight into your final rest, Shavasana. But know that this is your practice, there's no rush. If you want to stay where you are or take anything else before you meet us in Shavasana, please do. Start to deepen your breath. Bring some movement to your fingers, your toes, your wrists, your ankles. Reach your arms up overhead, take a full body stretch. Roll onto your right side into a fetal position, pausing here for a moment. There's no rush. And then coming up to a seated or a kneeling position, hands together at heart center and your eyes are closed. Taking a moment to close your practice this Sunday morning with a thought of gratitude. So thinking of someone or something that you're thankful for right now. With that thought in your mind, lift your thumb knuckles up to your forehead center. And together we bow forwards and say, Namaste. Thank you very much for joining me this morning. I hope you enjoyed the class. As always, let me know any feedback or requests you might have. I'm live again tomorrow lunchtime, or maybe I'll see you next week. Thanks so much for joining and have a great Sunday.